baby's monitor flatlined for 3 seconds before the alarm screamed. Ronan Vale didn't move. He stood at the observation window of Mercy General's neonatal unit, watching his son die in slow motion. Kairo's chest barely rose. The nurses moved like ghosts around the incubator, their hands checking tubes, adjusting wires, writing numbers that meant nothing and everything. A doctor stepped into the hallway. Her name tag read Dr. Pemberton. She didn't look at Ronan when she spoke. His kidneys are failing. The dehydration is causing organ stress. We've tried every formula, every donor sample in our registry. He won't eat. Ronan's jaw tightened. Then find something he will eat. Mr. Vale, we've exhausted. I didn't ask for a list of what you've tried. I asked you to save my son. Dr. Pemberton finally met his eyes. Most people couldn't. Ronan Vale wasn't cruel, but he carried weight, the kind that made grown men confess sins they'd buried for decades. He ran Black Harbor City's port district, controlled shipping routes the mayor pretended didn't exist, and kept rival crews from turning the waterfront into a war zone. Politicians called him a necessary evil. Families called him protection. The truth lived somewhere between both. Hi viewers, kindly tell us where you're watching from and what time it is. There's one option, Dr. Pemberton said quietly. It's unconventional. Ronan waited. Sometimes premature infants reject synthetic nutrition entirely. Their systems are too sensitive, too specific. In rare cases, they'll only accept milk from a compatible omega, especially one who's currently pregnant. The hormonal composition matches what the infant's body expects. It's not common, but it's documented. Ronan's blood went cold. No. Mr. Vale. I said no. He turned toward the elevator. Find another way. Dr. Pemberton's voice stopped him. There is no other way. Kairo has maybe 12 hours. After that, his body shuts down, and we won't be able to restart it. Ronan stood frozen. Behind him, the monitor beeped. Steady, weak, dying. He'd survived 3 assassination attempts, watched lieutenants betray him for cash and power, buried people who'd trusted him with their lives, but nothing had ever made him feel this helpless. Kairo was 8 days old, born 2 months early because someone tried to kill Ronan by planting a car bomb outside his downtown office. The mother, Amara, had been in the passenger seat. She'd shielded the baby with her body when the blast tore through the vehicle. Doctors pulled Kairo out alive. Amara died on the operating table. Ronan hadn't slept since. The omega you're talking about, Ronan said slowly. Who is it? Dr. Pemberton hesitated. Caelum Ashborne. He's been under your protection for 4 months. He's 7 months pregnant, stable health, and his medical records show compatibility markers. Ronan's hands curled into fists. Caelum's not a resource. I'm not suggesting he is, but if you don't ask him, Kairo dies, and you'll spend the rest of your life wondering if pride killed your son. The words landed like bullets. Ronan walked back to the observation window. Inside the incubator, Kairo's tiny hand twitched. His eyes stayed closed. His skin looked grey under the warming lights. Would you let your pride kill him? Across Black Harbor, in a guarded estate overlooking the bay, Caelum Ashborne sat in a rocking chair and listened to the rain. He wasn't supposed to hear the conversation happening downstairs, but sound traveled in old houses, and the security team wasn't trying to be quiet. They're asking for him. Ronan said no. The baby's dying. Caelum closed his eyes. He already knew what they'd ask. He'd known since the night the nurses started whispering about compatibility tests and rare cases. His hand rested on his stomach. The baby inside him kicked gently, like it could sense his heartbeat rising. 7 months, 28 weeks. The doctors said everything looked good. Healthy weight, strong movement, no complications. But nothing about Caelum's life had ever been simple. He pushed himself up from the chair, slow and careful. Pregnancy made everything harder, walking, breathing, thinking. He moved to the window and watched the city lights flicker through the storm. Downstairs, a phone rang. Footsteps. Then silence. Caelum turned toward the door just as it opened. Marcus, Ronan's head of security, stood in the hallway. His expression said everything. They need you at the hospital. Caelum nodded. I know. The hospital smelled like disinfectant and fear. Caelum stepped out of the SUV, flanked by 2 guards who didn't speak. The rain had stopped, but the pavement still gleamed under the parking lot lights. His legs trembled, not from cold, from knowing what came next. Inside, the neonatal unit buzzed with controlled chaos. Nurses moved between rooms. Machines beeped in rhythms that sounded like countdowns. Dr. Pemberton met him at the nurse's station. "Caelum, thank you for coming." He didn't respond. His eyes found the observation window at the end of the hall. Ronan stood there, alone, staring at something Caelum couldn't see yet. Dr. Pemberton touched his arm gently. "Before we go in, I need to explain what's happening. Kairo's body is rejecting all forms of synthetic and donor nutrition. His digestive system is shutting down. We've run every test. The only variable left is compatibility-based feeding from a pregnant omega." Caelum's throat tightened. "Will it hurt him?" "No, if anything, it could save him. But it's not without risk for you. Your body is already supporting your own pregnancy. Adding the demand of feeding another infant, even temporarily, could cause fatigue, nutritional depletion, and stress markers. We'll monitor you closely, but I won't lie, it's a physical cost." "What happens if I say no?" Dr. Pemberton's silence answered. Caelum looked down the hall again. Ronan still hadn't moved. "How long does he have?" "Hours, maybe less." Caelum nodded. "Take me to him." The room was smaller than Caelum expected. The incubator sat in the center, surrounded by monitors and IV poles. Inside, Cairo Vale looked impossibly small. His chest rose and fell in shallow breaths. Tubes ran from his nose. Wires covered his tiny body. Caelum's breath caught. Ronan turned, their eyes met. For 4 months they'd lived in the same house and barely spoken. Ronan had rescued Caelum from an auction, a trafficking ring that specialized in omegas. He'd given him safety, medical care, autonomy, but he'd never asked questions, never pushed, never claimed. Now, standing in this room, the distance between them felt like a canyon. "You don't have to do this," Ronan said quietly. Caelum stepped closer. "Yes, I do." "Caelum, I know what it's like to be left to fade." His voice shook but didn't break. "I won't do that to him." Dr. Pemberton moved between them. "If we're doing this, we need to start now. Caelum, I'll need you to sit. We'll bring Kairo to you. The process is simple, skin-to-skin contact, natural latching. We'll monitor both of you the entire time." Caelum lowered himself into the chair beside the incubator. His hands shook. A nurse carefully lifted Kairo from the warmer. The baby didn't cry, didn't move. He looked like he'd already decided to let go. They placed him in Caelum's arms. The weight was nothing, the responsibility was everything. Caelum adjusted his shirt, exposing his chest. The baby's skin felt cool against his. For a long moment, nothing happened. Then Kairo turned his head. His tiny mouth searched, found, latched. The room held its breath. Kairo's chest expanded, his lips moved, he fed. The monitor beeped once, twice, steady. Dr. Pemberton exhaled, his vitals are stabilizing. Caelum closed his eyes. Tears slid down his face, but he didn't wipe them away. His own baby kicked inside him like it understood. Ronan collapsed into the chair against the wall. His hands covered his face. Not from weakness. From relief so overwhelming it felt like drowning. 10 minutes passed, then 20. Kairo fed slowly, carefully, like his body was remembering how to survive. Dr. Pemberton checked Caelum's pulse. "How do you feel?" "Tired." "That's normal. We'll limit sessions to 15-minute intervals, 3 times a day. Any longer and your body won't recover." Caelum nodded. He looked down at Kairo. The baby's eyes fluttered open for the first time since he'd been placed in the incubator. Dark, unfocused, alive. A nurse stepped into the room. "Dr. Pemberton, we just got the latest labs back." The doctor scanned the tablet. Her expression shifted. "What?" Ronan stood. "Kairo's kidney function is improving. His hydration levels are rising. This is working." Caelum let out a breath he didn't know he'd been holding. But Dr. Pemberton's face didn't relax. "There's something else. The dehydration caused more damage than we initially thought. His recovery is going to take weeks, maybe longer, and he'll need consistent feeding during that time. Caelum, that means." "I'll do it," Caelum said before she could finish. Ronan stepped forward. "You're pregnant, your body." "I know what my body can handle." Caelum's voice was steady now, "and I know what happens if I stop." The baby in his arms made a soft sound, not a cry, something gentler. Ronan looked at Caelum like he was seeing him for the first time. Why? Ronan asked quietly. Why would you do this? Caelum met his eyes, because no child should be unwanted, and no one should have to fade alone. The words settled in the room like a verdict. Dr. Pemberton cleared her throat. We'll set up a schedule. Caelum, you'll stay here tonight for observation. Ronan, I recommend you get some rest. This is going to be a long process. Ronan didn't move. His eyes stayed on Kairo. On the baby who was finally breathing. That night, Caelum woke to the sound of footsteps. Ronan stood at the window, staring out at the city. His reflection looked haunted. Can't sleep? Caelum asked softly. Ronan turned. I should be asking you that. I'm used to it. Silence stretched between them. Thank you, Ronan said, for what you did, for what you're doing. Caelum shifted in the bed, his stomach pressed against the blankets. Don't thank me yet, this isn't over. What do you mean? Caelum's jaw tightened. People don't just let go of things they think they own. Before Ronan could respond, a phone buzzed. Marcus appeared in the doorway, his face grim. He handed Ronan the phone without a word. Ronan's expression went cold. On the screen was a photo, Caelum leaving the hospital, time-stamped 30 minutes ago. Below it a message, I own what's inside him, and I'm coming to collect. Caelum's hands went numb. He didn't need to see the phone to know. The air in the room changed. Ronan's shoulders tensed. Marcus moved to the door like he expected someone to kick it in. Who is it? Caelum's voice barely made sound. Ronan didn't answer immediately. He stared at the screen, jaw locked, eyes burning with something Caelum had never seen before. Rage, cold and controlled. Silas Crowe. The name hit Caelum like a fist to the chest. His breath stalled, the room tilted. Silas. The man who'd broken him, claimed him, used him, then discarded him the moment pregnancy became inconvenient. Caelum pressed his hand against his stomach. The baby inside kicked hard, like it could feel his panic. Marcus stepped closer. We need to move him, now. Ronan shook his head. Not yet. If we move too fast, Silas will know we're spooked. He's watching. He wants us to run. Then what do we do? Marcus asked. Ronan's eyes shifted to Caelum. We make him think he's already won. Caelum's pulse hammered in his throat. What does that mean? It means you stay here, you keep feeding Kairo, you act like nothing's changed. And if Silas comes for me? Ronan's voice dropped. He won't get within 100 feet of you. Caelum wanted to believe him, but belief was a luxury he'd lost months ago. The next morning, Caelum sat in the chair beside Kairo's incubator and tried to keep his hands from shaking. The baby was stronger, his color had improved, the monitors beeped at steady intervals. Dr. Pemberton said his kidney function was climbing. Another few days and he'd be stable enough to go home. But home felt like a word from another life. A nurse entered, carrying a bottle of water and a nutrition bar. You need to eat. Caelum took them without looking up. His appetite had vanished the moment he saw that text. The nurse hesitated. Are you okay? Fine. She didn't believe him, but she left anyway. Caelum unwrapped the bar and forced himself to chew. His stomach churned. The baby inside him shifted, pressing against his ribs. He closed his eyes and tried to remember what safety felt like. The door opened again. This time it wasn't a nurse. A man in a dark suit stepped inside. He wasn't hospital staff. His eyes swept the room, lingering on Caelum for too long. Visiting hours are over, Caelum said quietly. The man smiled. It didn't reach his eyes. I'm not visiting, I'm delivering a message. Caelum's blood went cold. The man pulled an envelope from his jacket and placed it on the table beside the incubator. From someone who misses you. Before Caelum could respond, the man turned and walked out. The door clicked shut. Caelum stared at the envelope. His hands wouldn't move. Outside, Marcus's voice barked orders. Footsteps pounded down the hall, shouting, then silence. Ronan appeared in the doorway, breathing hard. His eyes found the envelope immediately. Did he touch you? Caelum shook his head. Ronan crossed the room and picked up the envelope. He tore it open. Inside was a single photograph. Caelum's breath stopped. It was him, taken months ago, before the pregnancy showed, before Ronan, before everything fell apart. He was sitting in a room Caelum barely remembered, Silas's estate, the place where everything had been taken from him. On the back of the photo, written in sharp, precise handwriting, "You carry my legacy, I'll reclaim what's mine." Ronan crumpled the photo in his fist. "He's trying to scare you," Ronan said. "It's working." Ronan knelt beside the chair, his voice softened. "Listen to me, Silas doesn't have power anymore. I destroyed his empire, his contacts, his protection. He's a ghost trying to haunt you, but ghosts can't touch the living. He found me, Ronan. He knows where I am. He knows about the baby. And I know about him." Ronan's eyes burned. "He won't get near you, I swear it." Caelum wanted to believe him, but belief required trust, and trust required proof. That afternoon, Ronan called a meeting. The room was underground, a private section of the hospital reserved for security briefings. 6 men sat around a table. Marcus stood at the head. "Silas Crowe resurfaced," Ronan said. "He sent a messenger to Caelum's room this morning. We have the man in custody." One of the lieutenants leaned forward. "What does he want?" "The baby. Caelum's carrying his child. He thinks that gives him rights." Marcus slammed a folder onto the table. "Silas has no legal claim. We checked. No paternity acknowledgement, no custody filing, nothing." "That won't stop him," Ronan said. "Silas doesn't operate legally, he operates psychologically. He's trying to make Caelum feel hunted, isolated, owned." Another lieutenant spoke. "So what's the play?" Ronan's jaw tightened. "We find him before he finds us, and we end this." Caelum sat in the rocking chair in his hospital room, staring at the ceiling. He couldn't sleep, couldn't eat, couldn't stop replaying the moment Silas's messenger walked into the room. The baby inside him kicked, hard, like it was angry. Caelum placed his hand on his stomach. "I know, I'm scared too." A soft knock. The door opened. Ronan stepped inside, carrying a tray of food. "You didn't eat lunch." "I'm not hungry." "Your body doesn't care." Ronan set the tray on the table. "You're feeding 2 people, you need calories." Caelum looked at the food. Soup, bread, fruit, simple, safe. He picked up the spoon and forced himself to eat. Ronan sat across from him. For a long moment, neither of them spoke. "Why did you do it?" Ronan asked finally. Caelum paused. "Do what?" "Agree to feed Kairo. You didn't owe me anything. You could have said no." Caelum set the spoon down. "Because I know what it's like to be left behind, to be told you're not worth saving." Ronan's expression shifted. "Who told you that?" Caelum's hand drifted to his stomach. "Silas, when he found out I was pregnant, he called me defective, said omegas who carry children lose their value, that I was a liability." Ronan's hands curled into fists. "He tried to force me to," Caelum's voice cracked, "but I ran, and you found me." "I didn't find you," Ronan said quietly. "You saved yourself, I just gave you a place to land." Caelum's eyes strung. He looked away. "You're not defective," Ronan said, "and you're not a liability. You're the reason my son is alive." The words settled in Caelum's chest like warmth. For the first time in months, he almost believed them. That night, Caelum woke to the sound of monitors. Kairo's vitals spiked. Nurses rushed in. Dr. Pemberton appeared, pulling on gloves. "What's happening?" Caelum pushed himself up, heart pounding. "His temperature's rising. Could be an infection. We're running tests." Caelum's breath stopped. "Is he?" "We're doing everything we can." Ronan appeared in the doorway, eyes wild. "What's going on?" Dr. Pemberton didn't answer. She focused on the monitors. The numbers climbed. Kairo's tiny body trembled. Caelum stood, his legs shook. He crossed the room and placed his hand on the incubator. "You don't give up," he whispered. "You hear me, you don't give up." The monitors beeped, fast, erratic. Then slowly they steadied. "Doctor." Pemberton exhaled, temperatures dropping, he's stabilizing. Caelum's knees buckled. Ronan caught him before he hit the floor. "I've got you," Ronan murmured. Caelum closed his eyes. The baby inside him kicked. Once, twice. Like it was reminding him it was still there. The next morning, a lab technician entered Caelum's room. "We need to run some tests, standard blood work, just to make sure you're handling the feeding schedule." Caelum nodded. He rolled up his sleeve. The technician prepped the needle, drew the blood, labeled the vials. But when she left, she didn't go to the lab. She went to the parking garage, where a black car waited, and Silas Crowe sat in the back seat, holding a tablet. On the screen, Caelum's full medical file, updated, current, including the exact location of his room. Ronan stood in the security office, staring at 12 monitors. Every hallway, every entrance, every exit. Marcus replayed the footage from the morning, the lab technician entering Caelum's room, drawing blood, leaving. Then the parking garage, the black car, the exchange. Ronan's voice was ice. "Who is she?" Marcus pulled up her file. "Shanice Wilkins, been at Mercy General for 3 years, clean record, background check came back clear." "Run it again, deeper." Marcus hesitated. "Ronan, if we start pulling hospital staff, we'll cause panic. Silas wants chaos, he wants you distracted." "Then we don't pull her, we followed her." Marcus nodded, already on it. Ronan turned back to the monitors. His eyes found the camera feed of Caelum's room. The Omega sat in the chair, holding Kairo. The baby fed slowly, peacefully. Caelum looked exhausted. His shoulders sagged. Dark circles shadowed his eyes, but his hands were steady. Ronan's chest tightened. This wasn't supposed to happen. Caelum wasn't supposed to become part of this. He was supposed to heal, recover, and disappear into whatever life he chose. But now Kairo's survival depended on him, and Silas knew it. Which made Caelum the most valuable piece on the board. Caelum shifted in the chair, adjusting Kairo's position. The baby's mouth moved gently, rhythmically. His tiny hand curled against Caelum's chest. Dr. Pemberton entered, clipboard in hand. "How's he doing?" "Better, he's eating longer now." "And you, any dizziness, nausea?" "Just tired." Dr. Pemberton checked his vitals. Pulse, blood pressure, temperature, everything normal. "Your body's handling this remarkably well," she said, "but I want to reduce the feeding sessions. Twice a day instead of 3. We'll supplement with fortified donor milk." Caelum shook his head. "He won't take it." "We have to try. You're 7 months pregnant, Caelum. Your body needs rest." "He's dying without me. And you'll collapse if you keep this up." Caelum's jaw tightened. "Then I'll collapse, but I'm not stopping." Dr. Pemberton sighed. She'd seen stubbornness before, but this was different. This was survival instinct, protective, desperate. "Fine, but I'm monitoring you every 4 hours, and if I see any signs of distress, we're pulling you. Understood?" Caelum nodded. Dr. Pemberton left. The room fell silent again, just the hum of machines, the soft sound of Kairo feeding. Caelum closed his eyes. His own baby kicked, hard, like it was competing for attention. "I know," Caelum whispered. "I haven't forgotten you." That afternoon, Ronan walked into Caelum's room, carrying a bag. "You need to eat." Caelum glanced at the bag. "I'm not hungry." "You're always not hungry. Eat anyway." Ronan unpacked the food: soup, bread, a sandwich, fruit, water. Caelum stared at it. "You didn't have to do this." "Yeah, I did." Ronan sat across from him. For a moment, neither spoke. Then Caelum asked the question that had been burning in his chest since the photo arrived. "Why did you destroy Silas's empire?" Ronan's expression hardened, because he needed to be stopped. "That's not an answer." Ronan leaned back, his eyes stayed on Caelum. Silas built his power by breaking people. He didn't just control territory, he controlled minds. He found Omegas who were vulnerable, isolated, desperate, and he made them believe they were nothing without him. Caelum's throat tightened. "I didn't know about you," Ronan continued, "not until the auction. When I found out Silas had been holding you, using you," his voice cut off. "I couldn't let that stand." "So you destroyed everything he built?" "Everything." Caelum looked down at Kairo. The baby slept now, peaceful, safe. "And now he wants revenge." "No," Ronan said quietly. "He wants control. He thinks if he takes your baby, he takes back his power, proves he's still untouchable. So what do we do? We don't give him the chance. That night, Caelum couldn't sleep. He stood at the window, watching the city lights flicker in the distance. His hand rested on his stomach. The baby inside him moved constantly now, restless, anxious. He heard footsteps behind him. Ronan appeared in the doorway. You should be resting. I can't. Ronan stepped inside. He didn't ask why, he already knew. When I was pregnant, Caelum said quietly, Silas used to say I was lucky, that most Omegas would kill for the chance to carry an Enigma's child, that I should be grateful. Ronan's jaw clenched. I believed him for a while. I thought maybe he was right. Maybe I was supposed to feel honored. You weren't. I know that now, Caelum's voice cracked, but I didn't then, and that's what scares me, that he'll come back and make me believe it again. Ronan crossed the room. He stood beside Caelum, close but not touching. He can't make you believe anything, Ronan said. Not anymore. You're not the person you were when he had you. You're stronger. You survived him. You saved my son. You're still standing. Caelum's eyes burned. I don't feel strong. Strength isn't how you feel. It's what you do when you're terrified. The words settled in Caelum's chest. For a long moment, they stood in silence. Then Caelum asked, what if he takes the baby? He won't. But what if? Then I'll burn the world to get them back. Caelum looked at Ronan, really looked at him. And for the first time, he believed. The next morning, Caelum woke to shouting. He bolted upright, his heart hammered. The door slammed open. Marcus burst in, gun drawn. We need to move, now. Caelum's breath stopped. What happened? Silas filed a legal claim. He's citing Enigma parentage rights. Says the baby's his heir and you're withholding it. Caelum's hands went numb. That's not. Doesn't matter if it's true. The court scheduled an emergency hearing. You have to appear. Ronan appeared behind Marcus, face dark. We're not bringing him into a courtroom. Silas wants him exposed. We don't have a choice, Marcus said. The judge issued a summons. If Caelum doesn't show, Silas wins by default. Ronan's fists clenched. Caelum stood, legs shaking. When? Tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. 24 hours. Caelum's hand moved to his stomach. The baby kicked, hard. Like it knew. That night, Ronan sat beside Kairo's incubator. The baby slept peacefully. His vitals were stable, his color good. But tomorrow, everything could fall apart. Ronan's phone buzzed. A message, unknown number. He opened it. A video. Caelum months ago, in Silas's estate, sitting in a chair, eyes hollow, hands shaking. And Silas's voice, smooth and cold. Tell them you're happy, tell them you chose this. Caelum's voice, barely a whisper. I'm happy, I chose this. The video ended. Below it a message, see you in court. The courtroom smelled like old wood and fear. Caelum sat in the front row, hands folded over his stomach. The baby inside him kicked constantly, like it could sense his pulse hammering, like it knew they were walking into a trap. Ronan sat beside him, silent, still, but his presence felt like armor. Marcus stood at the back scanning faces. Security had swept the building twice. No weapons, no obvious threats, but Silas didn't need weapons. He had words, and words could cut deeper than blades. The judge entered, a woman in her 50s, sharp eyes, no-nonsense expression. She sat, adjusted her glasses, and looked directly at Caelum. Mr. Ashborne, you're here regarding a claim filed by Silas Crowe. He alleges that you're carrying his biological child, and that he has parental rights under Enigma lineage law. Is that correct? Caelum's throat closed. He forced himself to speak. The child is his biologically, but he has no rights. The judge's eyebrow lifted. That's not for you to decide. It is when he's a predator. The courtroom went silent. Silas's lawyer stood, a man in an expensive suit with a smile that didn't reach his eyes. Your Honor, my client is not on trial here. Mr. Ashborne is making baseless accusations to avoid his legal obligations. They're not baseless, Caelum said, his voice shook but held. He coerced me, isolated me, told me I was nothing without him. The lawyer's smile widened. Do you have proof? Caelum's breath stalled. Medical records, witnesses, anything beyond your word. Caelum's hands curled into fists. Ronan leaned forward. We have proof. The lawyer turned. And who are you? Ronan Vale, the man who dismantled Silas Crowe's empire and put half his associates in federal prison. The lawyer's smile faltered. Ronan pulled a folder from his jacket and handed it to the bailiff. Financial records, communication logs, testimony from survivors, everything Silas did to control, manipulate, and traffic Omegas, including Caelum. The judge opened the folder. Her expression darkened as she read. The lawyer's voice sharpened. Your Honor, this is a custody hearing, not a criminal trial. It's both now, the judge said coldly. She looked at the bailiff. Bring in Mr. Crowe. The door at the back of the courtroom opened. Silas Crowe walked in. Caelum's entire body went rigid. Silas looked exactly the same, tall, composed, eyes like polished stone. He moved like he owned the room, like everyone in it existed to serve him. He didn't look at Caelum. Not at first. But when he sat at the defendant's table, his gaze slid over. Slow, deliberate. Caelum's breath stopped. Silas smiled. Not cruel, not angry. Just knowing. Like he'd already won. The judge spoke. Mr. Crowe, you're claiming parental rights to the child Mr. Ashborne is carrying. On what grounds? Silas's voice was smooth, calm, biological. The child is mine. I have a right to be involved in its life. Even if Mr. Ashborne does not consent. Consent is complicated when someone is emotionally unstable. Caelum's hands shook. Are you suggesting Mr. Ashborne is unfit? The judge asked. I'm suggesting he's been manipulated by Mr. Vale, who has a history of violence and criminal enterprise. Ronan's jaw clenched. The lawyer stood. Your Honor, Mr. Vale's record speaks for itself. He runs a criminal organization. He's violent, dangerous, and clearly has undue influence over Mr. Ashborne. That's a lie, Caelum said, his voice cracked. Ronan saved me. He gave me safety, autonomy. He never what? Silas interrupted. His voice was soft, almost gentle. Never touched you, never claimed you, or never let you leave. Caelum's breath hitched. You're living in his house, Silas continued, under his guard, feeding his child. Tell me, Caelum, do you really believe you're free? The words landed like poison. Caelum's chest tightened, his vision blurred. Ronan leaned forward. Don't listen to him. But Silas kept talking. You were always so easy to confuse, so desperate to believe someone cared. First me, now him. You never learned, did you? Caelum's hands pressed against his stomach. The baby kicked, hard, painful. Enough, the judge said sharply. Mr. Crowe, you will address the court, not the witness. Silas leaned back, smiled. Of course, Your Honor. The hearing continued. Evidence was presented. Financial records showing Silas's trafficking network, testimony from Omegas he'd manipulated, medical reports documenting Caelum's condition when Ronan found him. But Silas's lawyer twisted everything. These records show Mr. Ashborne was in distress, but they don't prove my client caused it. The timeline matches, Ronan's lawyer countered. Caelum was under Silas's control for 8 months. The pregnancy occurred during that time. Pregnancy is not proof of coercion. It is when the Omega was held against his will. Can Mr. Ashborne prove he was held against his will, or did he stay because he wanted to? Caelum's chest burned. The judge looked at him. Mr. Ashborne, did Silas Crowe ever physically restrain you? Caelum's throat closed. Did he lock you in, threaten you? He didn't have to, Caelum whispered. He made me believe I couldn't leave, that I was nothing without him. But did he physically stop you? Caelum's silence was answer enough. The judge's expression didn't change, but her tone softened. I understand psychological manipulation is real, but the law requires evidence. We have evidence, Ronan said. Witnesses, records, survivors. Of his operation, the judge said, not of his treatment of Mr. Ashborne specifically. Ronan's fists clenched. The lawyer smiled. Your Honor, my client is willing to undergo a paternity test. If the child is his, he deserves rights. If it's not, we'll withdraw the claim. The judge nodded, agreed, we'll schedule. No, Caelum said. Everyone turned. No, the judge repeated. Caelum stood, his legs shook, his hands pressed against his stomach. The child is his biologically. I'm not denying that, but biology doesn't make him a father, it makes him a sperm donor, and I will not let him anywhere near my baby. Silas's eyes glittered. Our baby. No, Caelum said, his voice broke but held. Mine, I carried it, I protected it. I chose to keep it when you told me to get rid of it. This child is mine. The courtroom went silent. The judge leaned forward. Mr. Ashborne, do you have proof that Mr. Crowe asked you to terminate the pregnancy? Caelum's hands shook. I have his words, recorded. Ronan's head snapped toward him. Caelum reached into his jacket, pulled out a small recording device. His hands trembled as he placed it on the table. I recorded him, Caelum said quietly. The night he told me I was defective, that the baby made me worthless, that I should fix it. The judge took the device. Play it. The bailiff pressed play. Silas's voice filled the room, cold, clinical, disgusted. You're pregnant, that complicates things. Omegas lose value when they're pregnant. Buyers want clean, unspoiled, you need to fix this. Caelum's voice, small and broken, fix it how? However you want, just make it disappear. The recording stopped. The courtroom was silent. Silas's lawyer stood. Your Honor, this recording is out of context. My client was simply telling an Omega to terminate a pregnancy he didn't want. The judge interrupted. Her voice was ice. I've heard enough. She looked at Silas. Mr. Crowe, based on the evidence presented, I'm denying your claim. You have no parental rights, and I'm forwarding this case to the district attorney for further investigation. Silas didn't move, didn't blink. He just smiled. And that smile made Caelum's blood run cold. Outside the courtroom, Caelum collapsed against the wall. His legs gave out. Ronan caught him. I've got you, Ronan murmured. Caelum's breath came in gasps, his chest heaved. The baby inside him kicked violently. It's over, Ronan said, you won. But Caelum shook his head. No, it's not. What do you mean? Caelum's eyes found Ronan's. He's not done. He'll come for me, for the baby, for Kairo. He won't stop until he's destroyed everything. Ronan's jaw tightened. Then we'll be ready. That night, Caelum sat in the hospital room, holding Kairo. The baby fed peacefully, his vitals were strong, his color good. But Caelum couldn't shake the feeling. The weight in his chest, the certainty that something was coming. His phone buzzed. Unknown number. He opened it. A photo. The outside of the hospital, time-stamped 20 minutes ago. Below it a message, you think a courtroom can stop me, I'll take what's mine, and you'll beg me to. Caelum's hands went numb. The phone slipped from his fingers. And in the parking garage below, a black car pulled into the shadows. Waiting. The fire alarm screamed at 2 in the morning. Caelum jerked awake, heart slamming against his ribs. Smoke poured through the ventilation system. The lights flickered, died. Emergency backup kicked in, bathing everything in red. Ronan burst through the door, gun drawn. Get up now. Caelum stumbled out of bed, hands instinctively covering his stomach. What's happening? Fire, 3rd floor, someone set it. Marcus appeared behind Ronan, carrying Kairo's transport incubator. The baby wailed inside, tiny fists flailing. We need to move, Marcus shouted over the alarm. Stairwell's compromised. We're going through the service elevator. They ran. Caelum's legs burned, his lungs screamed. The baby inside him pressed against his diaphragm, making every breath agony, but he didn't stop. Behind them, glass shattered. Screams echoed through the hallways. Nurses evacuated patients. Doctors barked orders. Chaos consumed the building. They reached the service elevator. Marcus jammed the button. Nothing. It's locked down, he said. Ronan spun toward the emergency exit. Then we take the stairs. You said they were compromised. We don't have a choice. They burst into the stairwell. Smoke billowed upward. Heat radiated from below. Somewhere beneath them, flames roared. Caelum's vision blurred. His legs wobbled. Ronan grabbed his arm, steadying him. "Stay with me," Ronan commanded. They descended, 1 floor, 2, the smoke thickened. Caelum's chest tightened, he couldn't breathe. Then he saw it. A figure standing in the stairwell below. Blocking the exit. Tall, composed, eyes like glass. Silas. Caelum's blood turned to ice. Ronan raised his gun. "Move." Silas smiled. "Or what? You'll shoot me in front of witnesses, in a hospital full of cameras." "Try me." Silas's gaze shifted to Caelum. "Hello, darling, miss me?" Caelum's breath stopped. Silas took a step forward. "You look tired. Pregnancy's hard, isn't it? Especially when you're feeding someone else's child." Ronan moved between them. "You have 3 seconds to get out of my way. Or you'll do what? Kill me. That makes you the monster, not me." Marcus shifted behind them. His hand moved toward his holster. Silas's eyes flicked to him. "I wouldn't. There are people watching. People who'd love to see Ronan Vale finally lose control." Caelum's hands shook, his vision tunneled. The baby inside him kicked frantically. Then the smoke detector above them exploded. Sparks rained down, the lights cut out completely. In the darkness, Silas's voice whispered, "I'll see you soon, Caelum." When the emergency lights flickered back on, he was gone. They made it out through the loading dock. Paramedics swarmed the parking lot. Fire trucks blocked the street. Police cordoned off the building. Caelum collapsed onto the ambulance bumper, gasping for air. A paramedic checked his vitals, pulse racing, blood pressure spiking, the baby's heartbeat strong but erratic. "You need to calm down," the paramedic said. "Your stress levels are dangerous." Caelum laughed, the sound came out broken. "Dangerous, right." Ronan stood nearby, talking to a detective. His voice was low, controlled, but his hands were fists. Marcus approached Caelum. "How are you holding up?" "He was there, inside the hospital. How did he get past security?" "We're reviewing footage now. Someone helped him. We just need to find out who." Caelum's chest tightened. "He's not going to stop." "No, he's not." "So what do we do?" Marcus's jaw set. "We finish this." By dawn, the fire was contained. Investigators confirmed arson. Accelerant found on the 3rd floor. Security footage showed a maintenance worker entering the building at midnight. Face obscured, badge stolen. But the maintenance worker was found 2 hours later, unconscious in a supply closet, no memory of what happened. Drugged. Ronan's team pulled every piece of evidence. Financial records, communication logs, witness statements. Everything pointed to Silas. But proving it was different than knowing it. The police couldn't touch him. No direct evidence, no witnesses willing to testify. Silas had insulated himself perfectly. Ronan sat in the temporary command center, staring at the files spread across the table. Marcus leaned against the wall. "We have enough to ruin him. Media, public exposure, leak everything." "That takes time," Ronan said, "and time gives him more chances to get to Caelum." "Then what's the play?" Ronan's eyes darkened. "We force his hand, make him come to us." "How?" "By giving him exactly what he wants." Caelum sat in the safe house Ronan's team had secured. It was small, clean, anonymous, guards posted outside, cameras on every corner. But it didn't feel safe. Nothing felt safe anymore. Kairo slept in a bassinet beside him. The baby's breathing was steady, his color good. Dr. Pemberton had cleared him for discharge before the fire. Now he was here, dependent on Caelum for survival. Just like the baby inside him. Caelum's hand rested on his stomach. The kicks had slowed, not stopped, just quieter. Like even the baby knew to be afraid. The door opened, Ronan stepped inside. "How is he?" Ronan asked, nodding toward Kairo. "Fine, sleeping." "And you?" Caelum didn't answer. Ronan sat across from him. For a long moment, neither spoke. Then Caelum said, "You're planning something." "What makes you say that?" "Because you're looking at me like I'm bait." Ronan's expression didn't change, but his silence confirmed it. Caelum's chest tightened. "You want to use me to draw him out." "I want to end this before he hurts you, or Kairo, or your baby." And the plan is to put me in danger to do that. The plan is to control the danger, set the trap, let him think he's winning, then take him down. Caelum's hands curled into fists, and if something goes wrong. It won't. You don't know that. Ronan leaned forward, his voice dropped. I know that if we don't stop him now, he'll keep coming. He'll wait until you're vulnerable, until the baby's born, until you're alone, and then he'll take everything. Caelum's throat burned. I won't let that happen, Ronan said, but I need you to trust me. Caelum looked at Kairo, then at his own stomach. 2 lives depending on him. 2 lives Silas wanted to destroy. He met Ronan's eyes. What do you need me to do? The plan was simple. Leak Caelum's location, let Silas think he'd found him, set up surveillance, wait for him to make a move. Then catch him in the act. It was risky, dangerous, stupid. But it was the only way to get evidence that would hold up in court. Caelum sat in the safe house and waited. 1 day passed, then 2. His phone buzzed constantly, unknown numbers, blocked calls, messages that made his skin crawl. I'm close. You can't hide forever. I'll take what's mine. Each one made Caelum's chest tighten, made his hands shake. But he didn't run. Because running meant Silas won. On the 3rd night, the power cut out. Caelum bolted upright, darkness swallowed the room. Outside, silence. No guards, no footsteps, nothing. His phone buzzed. A message, unknown number. Look outside. Caelum's blood ran cold. He moved to the window, pulled back the curtain. A car sat across the street, black, engine running. And in the driver's seat, Silas smiled. Then the lights came back on. The car was gone. But on the doorstep, a package waited. Caelum's hands shook as he opened it. Inside, a hospital bracelet. Kairo's, and a note, I have people everywhere, even in places you think are safe. The video went live at 6 a.m. Caelum's face, full screen, leaked hospital footage showing him holding Kairo, feeding him, the timestamp clear, the caption devastating. Alpha Mafia boss uses pregnant Omega as human incubator, exclusive footage. Within an hour, it had 10 million views. By noon, every news outlet in the city was running the story. Reporters camped outside Ronan's businesses. Cameras followed his cars. Microphones shoved in the faces of anyone associated with him. The narrative was poison. Ronan Vale, ruthless crime lord, exploiting a vulnerable Omega, forcing him to feed an infant while pregnant himself, holding him captive under the guise of protection. And Caelum, portrayed as either a victim too broken to escape or a manipulator, using his body to secure wealth and power. The comments section was hell. He's just a breeder, probably getting paid. Bet he's loving the attention. Omegas like him make the rest of us look bad. Someone should take that baby away from both of them. Caelum read every word. Each one carved deeper. Ronan stood in his office, watching the news coverage. His phone rang non-stop. Lawyers, publicists, business partners demanding answers. Marcus entered. We traced the leak. It came from inside the hospital, same tech who sold Caelum's medical files. Where is she now? Gone, apartment cleared out, bank account emptied, she's in the wind. Ronan's fists clenched. Silas paid her. Definitely, but we can't prove it, and even if we could, the damage is done. On the screen, a talk show host gestured dramatically. The question we have to ask is, does Ronan Vale see Caelum Ashborne as a person, or as a resource? Ronan turned off the TV. We need to respond, Marcus said, publicly, set the record straight. No, it's Ronan. Any response we make, Silas will twist. He wants us defensive, scrambling. We stay silent, let him think he's winning. And Caelum, what about him? Ronan's jaw tightened. I'll handle it. Caelum sat in the safe house, staring at his phone. The messages kept coming, hundreds, thousands. Threats, insults, accusations. His hands shook, his chest burned. The baby inside him kicked violently, like it could feel his panic. A knock. Ronan entered. Caelum didn't look up. They think I'm a whore. They're wrong. Are they? Caelum's voice cracked. I'm living in your house, feeding your son, carrying another man's baby. What else would they call me? Ronan crossed the room, knelt in front of him. They'd call you a survivor, someone who saved a child's life, someone stronger than any of them will ever be. Caelum's eyes burned. It doesn't feel like strength. It never does, not in the moment. Tears slid down Caelum's face. I can't do this anymore, I can't. Yes, you can, Ronan's voice was steel, because you've already survived worse. You survived Silas. You survived carrying a child he tried to make you destroy. You survived every single person who told you that you were nothing. And you're still here. Caelum's breath hitched. Silas wants you to break, Ronan continued. He wants you to believe you're what they say you are. Don't give him that. Caelum closed his eyes, his hands pressed against his stomach. The baby kicked once, twice. Like it was reminding him it was still there, still fighting. That afternoon, Silas gave an interview. He sat in a pristine office, dressed in an expensive suit, expression calm and composed. The interviewer leaned forward. Mr. Crowe, there are allegations that you coerced Mr. Ashborne, that you trafficked omegas. What's your response? Silas smiled, soft, almost sad. I loved Caelum, I still do. What happened between us was complicated, yes, but it was never coercion. He chose to be with me. He chose to carry my child. Then why is he with Ronan Vale now? Because Ronan is very good at making people believe they need him. He rescued Caelum, yes, but rescue can become captivity if the person never lets you leave. The interviewer nodded, and the baby. My child biologically, legally, I have every right to be involved in its life, but Ronan has turned Caelum against me, made him afraid, convinced him that I'm the enemy. Ah, you? Silas's eyes glittered. I'm a father fighting for his child. If that makes me the enemy, so be it. The interview ended. Within hours, public opinion shifted. Suddenly, Silas was the wronged father, Caelum was the confused omega, and Ronan was the villain keeping them apart. That night, Caelum's phone rang. Unknown number. He almost didn't answer. But something made him pick up. Silas's voice poured through the speaker, smooth, familiar, poisonous. Hello, darling. Caelum's breath stopped. I saw you on the news. You look tired. Are you sleeping? What do you want? To talk like we used to, remember. You tell me everything. Your fears, your dreams. You trusted me. You broke that trust. Did I, or did I just show you the truth? That you need someone to take care of you, someone who understands you. Caelum's hands shook. I don't need you. Don't you? Look at your life, Caelum. You're hiding in a safe house, feeding someone else's baby, carrying mine. You think Ronan cares about you. He cares about control, just like I did. The only difference is I'm honest about it. You're a liar. Am I? Then why are you still on the phone? Caelum's chest tightened. You want to know the truth? Silas's voice dropped. You'll never be free, not from me, not from Ronan, not from anyone, because you don't know how to be alone. You're too weak, too broken, too. Caelum hung up. His hands trembled, his vision blurred. He wanted to scream, to throw the phone, to run. But he couldn't move. Because part of him, the part Silas had carved into, wondered if he was right. The next morning, an envelope arrived at the safe house. No return address, no markings. Inside, legal documents. A custody claim, filed in family court, Silas Crowe versus Caelum Ashborne. Requesting full parental rights, immediate custody upon birth, supervised visitation until then. And at the bottom, a handwritten note. See you in court, again, this time I'll win. The ambush came during a routine prenatal appointment. Caelum sat in the examination room, waiting for Dr. Pemberton. The clinic was small, private, secured by Ronan's team. Or so they thought. The door opened, but it wasn't the doctor. A woman in scrubs stepped inside, young, professional, smiling. Hi, Caelum, I'm filling in for Dr. Pemberton today. She got called to an emergency. Caelum's chest tightened. I didn't get a notification. Last minute, I'm sorry, let's just get your vitals and you can be on your way. She moved closer, pulled out a blood pressure cuff. Something felt wrong. Caelum's hand moved toward the call button. The woman's smile disappeared. Don't. A second person entered. Male, large, no scrubs, just cold eyes. Caelum's breath stopped. Who are you? Friends of Silas, he wants to talk. I'm not going anywhere. The man pulled a syringe from his pocket. You don't have a choice. Caelum lunged for the door. The man grabbed his arm. Caelum twisted, slamming his elbow into the man's ribs. The door burst open. Marcus charged in, gun raised. Get away from him. The woman bolted. The man shoved Caelum backward and ran. Marcus fired. The shot hit the wall. The man disappeared down the hallway. Caelum hit the floor. Pain exploded through his stomach. He gasped, hands clutching his belly. Marcus dropped beside him. Are you hurt? It's the baby. Stay still, I'm calling for help. Within minutes, paramedics arrived. They checked Caelum's vitals. The baby's heartbeat, strong, steady. But Caelum couldn't stop shaking. Ronan arrived at the clinic 20 minutes later. His face was stone, his eyes burned. He found Caelum in the recovery room, wrapped in a blanket, hands still trembling. Are you okay? Caelum nodded, but his voice broke. They were going to take me. They didn't, and they won't. You don't know that. They got inside, past your security, past everything. Ronan's jaw clenched. I know, and I'm handling it. How? By tightening security. By moving me again. Silas has people everywhere, Ronan. He always has. We can't win. Yes, we can. How? Ronan pulled a chair close, sat, because we have something he doesn't. What? The truth, and people willing to testify. Caelum's eyes widened. Who? The Omegas he trafficked, the ones I pulled from his network. They're scared, but they're ready to talk if we can protect them. And if we can't? Then we find another way, but we don't give up. That night, Ronan's team identified the ambush crew. Hired muscle, paid in cash, no direct connection to Silas. But the woman in scrubs left a trail. Emails, bank transfers, communications. All pointing back to a shell company Silas controlled. It wasn't enough for criminal charges, but it was enough to expose him. Ronan made the call. Leak it, everything, financial records, communications, witness testimony. I want it in every newsroom by morning. Marcus hesitated. That'll start a war. Good, let's finish it. The story broke at dawn. Enigma crime lord Silas Crowe, trafficking, coercion, and a network of fear. Every major outlet ran it, documents, testimonies, photos. Omegas who'd been held, manipulated, sold. Caelum's story was one of many, but it was the one that hit hardest. Because he was still pregnant, still vulnerable, still fighting. Public opinion swung like a hammer. Suddenly, Silas wasn't the wronged father, he was the predator. And Caelum wasn't the manipulator, he was the survivor. Silas's response came that afternoon. A press conference, calm, controlled, defiant. These allegations are baseless, fabricated by a man who wants to destroy me because I threaten his empire. Ronan Vale is a criminal. He's using Caelum as a pawn, and when the truth comes out, you'll see exactly who the real monster is. The reporters shouted questions. What about the testimonies? Lies paid for by Vale. What about the financial records? Forged. What about Caelum? Silas's expression hardened. Caelum is confused, traumatized. He doesn't know what he wants, but I do. I want my child, and I will have it. That night, Caelum couldn't sleep. He lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, one hand on his stomach. The baby kicked, restless, angry. His phone buzzed. A message, unknown number. He opened it. A photo, the safe house, taken from across the street, tonight. Below it, you think you're safe. You're not, and when I come for you, Ronan won't be able to stop me. Caelum's breath stopped. Then the lights went out. The courtroom was silent. Every seat filled, cameras banned, security doubled. The judge's gavel rested on the bench like a loaded gun. Caelum sat at the plaintiff's table, hands folded over his stomach. 8 months pregnant now, the baby moved constantly, pressing, kicking, like it knew this moment mattered. Across the aisle, Silas sat perfectly still. Expensive suit, calm expression, eyes locked on Caelum. Ronan sat behind Caelum, close enough to touch, far enough to avoid accusations of influence. The judge entered, everyone stood. Be seated, we are here for the emergency custody hearing in the matter of Crowe versus Ashborne. Mr. Ashborne, you're representing yourself. Caelum's throat tightened. Yes, Your Honor. And Mr. Crowe, you're represented by counsel. Silas's lawyer stood. Yes, Your Honor. Then let's begin. Mr. Ashborne, this is your opportunity to present evidence and testimony regarding why custody should not be granted to Mr. Crowe. You may proceed. Caelum stood, his legs shook, his hands trembled. But his voice held. Your Honor, I'm not here to deny that Silas Crowe is the biological father of my child. I'm here to prove that biology doesn't make someone a parent, and that giving him custody would endanger my child's life. The judge leaned forward. That's a serious allegation. Do you have evidence? Yes. Caelum pulled documents from the folder in front of him. Medical records, police reports, witness statements. These are records from the 8 months I spent under Silas's control. During that time I was isolated, monitored, told that I belonged to him, that my value depended on my usefulness. Silas's lawyer stood. Objection, this is speculation. It's testimony, the judge said. Continue, Mr. Ashborne. Caelum's chest tightened. When I found out I was pregnant, Silas told me to terminate. He said pregnancy made me defective, that buyers wouldn't want me, that I needed to fix it. Do you have proof of this conversation? Caelum pulled out the recording device. I recorded it. The judge took the device, played it. Silas's voice filled the courtroom. You're pregnant, that complicates things. Omegas lose value when they're pregnant. You need to fix this. The recording ended. The courtroom was silent. Silas's lawyer stood again. Your Honor, this recording was obtained without consent. It's inadmissible. In a criminal trial, perhaps, the judge said, but this is family court, and I'll allow it. Caelum continued. After I refused to terminate, Silas kept me locked in his estate. I wasn't allowed to leave, wasn't allowed to see doctors, wasn't allowed to make choices about my own body. How did you escape? I didn't. Ronan Vale rescued me. He dismantled Silas's operation and gave me safety, autonomy, the chance to choose what happened to my child. Silas's lawyer scoffed. And yet you're living in Mr. Vale's home, under his protection. How is that different from what you claim my client did? Caelum met the lawyer's eyes. Because Ronan never told me I was worthless. He never forced me to do anything. He never made me believe I had no choice. That's the difference. The judge nodded. Mr. Crowe, would you like to respond? Silas stood, slowly, deliberately. He didn't look at the judge, he looked at Caelum. May I address Mr. Ashborne directly, Your Honor? The judge hesitated, briefly. Silas stepped forward, his voice was soft, controlled, dangerous. Caelum, look at me. Caelum's breath stopped, but he didn't look away. You think Ronan saved you, but all he did was replace me. You're still living under someone's control, still doing what you're told, still too weak to stand on your own. Caelum's hands curled into fists. You were always so easy to break, Silas continued. So desperate to believe someone cared, that's why I chose you, that's why you stayed, and that's why you'll come back. The courtroom held its breath. Caelum stood. His legs shook, his chest burned, but his voice was steel. You're right about one thing, I was desperate, I was broken. I did believe I needed you, but you didn't break me, Silas. You taught me exactly what kind of person I never want to be. Silas's expression flickered. And you're wrong about something else, Caelum continued. I'm not weak, I survived you. I survived carrying a child you tried to make me destroy. I survived every single lie you told me about who I was, and I'm still standing. The baby inside him kicked, hard. Caelum placed his hand on his stomach. This child will never know you, not because Ronan controls me, but because I choose to protect them, from you, from anyone who thinks they can own us. Silence. Then Caelum said something no one expected. You told me once that omegas lose value when they're pregnant. You said it in front of witnesses. Dr. Lahiri, your estate manager, Kendrick, they were both there, and they'll both testify. Silas's face went white. The lawyer shot to his feet. Objection, this is. Noted, the judge said, but I want to hear it. Mr. Ashborne, do you have these witnesses available? Yes, Your Honor. Dr. Lahiri is outside. She's willing to testify. She kept records, notes from every appointment, including the one where Silas instructed her to recommend termination without my consent. The courtroom erupted. The judge slammed her gavel. Order, Mr. Crowe, did you instruct a medical professional to recommend termination without the patient's knowledge? Silas's jaw clenched. I advised my doctor to present all options. That's not what I asked. Silas's lawyer stepped forward. Your Honor, my client. Your client will answer the question. Silas's eyes burned, but he didn't speak. The judge's expression hardened. Bailiff, bring in Dr. Lahiri. Dr. Lahiri entered the courtroom, mid-50s, nervous but resolute. She was sworn in. The judge asked Dr. Lahiri, did Silas Crowe ever instruct you to recommend termination to Caelum Ashborne without his consent? Dr. Lahiri's voice shook. Yes, he said Caelum's pregnancy was a complication, that it would damage his reputation. He told me to frame termination as medically necessary, even though it wasn't. The courtroom exploded. The judge slammed her gavel again. Order. Silas stood, his voice was cold, controlled. She's lying. Why would she lie? Caelum asked. You don't own her anymore. You can't hurt her. She has nothing to gain by being here except telling the truth. Silas's eyes locked on Caelum, and for the first time, Caelum saw it. Fear. Not of losing, but of being exposed. The judge leaned back. I've heard enough. Based on the testimony and evidence presented, I'm denying Mr. Crowe's custody claim. Furthermore, I'm issuing a restraining order. Mr. Crowe, you are to have no contact with Mr. Ashborne or the child. Violation will result in immediate arrest. Silas didn't move. The gavels fell. This hearing is adjourned. Outside the courtroom, Caelum collapsed against the wall. Ronan caught him. You did it. Caelum's breath came in gasps. Is it over? Yes. You're sure? I'm sure. Caelum closed his eyes. Tears slid down his face. For the first time in months, he believed it. That night, Silas was arrested. Not for the custody case, for trafficking, coercion, witness tampering. Federal charges, airtight evidence. He was led out of his estate in handcuffs, cameras flashing, reporters shouting. And Caelum watched it all on the news, safe, protected, free. But as the credits rolled, his phone buzzed. A message, unknown number. You think this is over? It's not. I'll find a way, I always do. Caelum stared at the screen. Then he deleted the message. And turned off his phone. 3 weeks later, Caelum went into labor. It started at dawn, a tightening in his lower back, a pressure he couldn't ignore. He tried to breathe through it, tried to wait. But by noon, the contractions were 5 minutes apart. Ronan drove him to the hospital. Marcus followed in a second car. Security was tight, no risks, no chances. Dr. Pemberton met them at the entrance. Let's get you upstairs. The labor was long, painful, exhausting. But Caelum didn't break. He breathed, he pushed, he fought. And at 8:43 p.m., his son was born. Healthy, strong, crying. Dr. Pemberton placed the baby on Caelum's chest. He's perfect. Caelum's hands trembled as he held him. His son, his child. Not Silas's, his. Tears streamed down his face. Hi, I'm your dad. The baby's cries softened. His tiny hand curled around Caelum's finger. Ronan stood at the foot of the bed, watching, his expression unreadable. What are you going to name him? Dr. Pemberton asked. Caelum looked down at his son. Aurelian, it means golden, strong. It's perfect. 2 days later, Caelum was discharged. He carried Aurelian in his arms, wrapped in a soft blue blanket. Kairo rode in a car seat beside him. both Barbies healthy, both safe. Ronan drove them home, not to the safe house, not to a hospital, but to Ronan's estate. The place Caelum had lived for months, but this time it felt different. It felt like home. That night, Caelum sat in the nursery, rocking Aurelian. Kairo slept in a crib nearby, both Barbies breathing, both alive. Ronan appeared in the doorway. "Can I come in?" Caelum nodded. Ronan sat beside him. For a long moment neither spoke. Then Ronan said, "I need to tell you something." Caelum's chest tightened. "What?" "Silas is gone." "Gone?" "Federal prison, sentenced to 20 years. No parole, no appeals, it's over." Caelum's breath stopped. "You're sure?" "I'm sure." Tears burned Caelum's eyes. "He can't come back." "No, he can't." Caelum closed his eyes. Relief washed over him like a wave. "Thank you," he whispered. "You don't have to thank me. You did this. You testified, you fought, you survived." Caelum looked down at Aurelian. "I didn't do it alone." Ronan's expression softened. "No, you didn't." They sat in silence, watching the Barbies sleep. Then Ronan said, "I want to ask you something." Caelum's pulse quickened. "What?" "Stay, not because you have to, not because you're scared, but because you want to build a life here, with me, with them." Caelum's throat tightened. "Why?" "Because you're family, and family doesn't leave." Caelum's eyes strung. "You mean that?" "I do." Caelum looked at Kairo, then at Aurelian, then at Ronan. For the first time in his life, he wasn't afraid. "Okay," he said quietly, "I'll stay." 6 months later, Caelum stood in the kitchen, making breakfast. Aurelian babbled in his high chair. Kairo crawled across the floor, chasing a toy. Ronan entered, carrying coffee. He set a cup beside Caelum. "Morning." "It's morning." They moved around each other easily, comfortably, like they'd been doing this for years. Caelum plated the food: eggs, toast, fruit. They sat together, ate together, watched the Barbies together. It wasn't perfect, life never was. But it was safe, it was real, it was theirs. That afternoon, Caelum received a letter. No return address, just his name on the envelope. His hands shook as he opened it. Inside, a single page, handwritten. "Caelum, I know I don't deserve forgiveness. I know I hurt you, but I want you to know something. You were right. Biology doesn't make someone a father. Love does, and I never loved you the way you deserved. I hope you find peace, and I hope your son never knows my name. Silas." Caelum stared at the letter. Then he tore it up, threw it away, and walked back to his family. That night, Caelum put both Barbies to bed. He kissed Aurelian's forehead, then Kairo's. "Good night," he whispered. "I love you." He turned off the light, closed the door. Ronan waited in the hallway. "You okay?" Caelum nodded. "Yeah, I am." They walked downstairs together, sat on the couch, watched the city lights flicker outside. "Do you ever think about him?" Ronan asked. "Sometimes, but not the way I used to." "What changed?" Caelum looked at Ronan. "I did. I learned that strength isn't control. It's restraint. It's choosing kindness when you've been hurt. It's protecting people who can't protect themselves." Ronan's expression softened. "You learned that on your own." "No, I learned it from you." They sat in silence. Then Caelum said, "Thank you for everything." Ronan's hand found his. "You don't have to thank me, your family." Caelum smiled. "Yeah, I am." Months turned into years. Aurelian grew strong, healthy, loved. Kairo thrived, learned to walk, to talk, to laugh. Caelum built a life he never thought possible, a life filled with safety, dignity, choice. And Ronan, feared alpha, ruthless protector, became something greater. A father, a partner, a safe place. Because family isn't built by power. It's built by sacrifice, consent, and courage. And sometimes, the strongest thing you can do is let someone in. Even when you're afraid. Even when it hurts. Even when the world says you're not worth saving. You are. You always were. If this story moved you, inspired you, or made you think, share your thoughts in the comments below. Your words might be exactly what someone else needs to hear today. Subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss a story that could change your perspective. And remember, strength isn't always loud. Sometimes it's the quiet decision to keep going when everything tells you to stop. Share this story with someone who needs to hear it. Together we inspire, together we rise.